represented.
Gamers
too.
be gaming.
Oh, man.
And we got to talk a lot about the Time Stranger deck yesterday, so I don't want to go over it too much, but it does still feel very representative of its source material, where you get the best of all of the top end. Yeah, everybody's working together to kind of pick their flavor toolbox at the end of the day. Hoodimon, it's the Hoodimon show with the support of the Tamers. Of course, Shakuamon might be one of the most powerful cards of the deck because Hoodimon is able to enable it so well, utilizing those Tamers.
And some people might be even opting not to use the level 3s anymore, using more so the Hacker Slumber level 3s, because those also play level 4s.
Right. There's a lot of different ways that you're able to get multiple 4s on the board, so you can begin that loop essentially with Shakuamon, reset everything.
You can't Digivolve them, right? The level 3s? The level 4s played by the 3 effect can't be Digivolved into.
Off of the Tamer, I believe not.
Okay. But that's why we use the new option card, Digilab.
Digilab, of course, that's the one thing. Even if your deck isn't in season for it being the newest game, you're gonna still see some support here and there.
It does free up the flexibility of using not that Terriermon, not that Palmon.
And one thing that I think is going to be very prevalent in this match is the fact that because both of these decks are based on the games, they're all multicolored. Being multicolored in Digimon, but having the ability to not really rely on it when you are evolving into your different Digimon, means that you gain access to different tech options, specifically option cards that usually are harder to get in multitudes when you are a single color deck. For example, as a red deck, it is a really cool tool to have in your back pocket to play Gravity Crush for 0, gain 2 memory, and be able to combo off. Now, as a multicolor deck, you have access to Gravity Crush, you have access to Blinding Ray, you have access to Hidden Potential Discovered as multiple ways.
Looks like we're starting with Uncle Ben, flipping up Wanyamon, and then because there is a Time Stranger card in play, he's able to play the option card in between Theater.
Yes, and grabbing this Tapirmon, because we did miss the rookie. That might be a very tough start against Hoodimon if Billy is able to get going quick. Now, 3 memory means we're going to be able to put this rookie in the back. This Terriermon is one that sets up that D-Dig evolution later that we were talking about.
We see Yugo Kamshiro. That's a really good hit, too.
Yeah, and then, of course, Chitose is big, Angemon is big. Angemon helps you dig for more pieces because when it's played or Digivolved, you're able to get that draw. Putting the rest away might mean that we already have the Chitose, or it might mean that we're willing to find it along the way off of this Angemon effect.
We might be going into Angemon just so that we can tuck with Terriermon's effect, and then I guess not, though, because we might be Yugoing into Yugoing, which is for 1.
Yeah, you're able to get an additional search and a good memory choke here. Unfortunately, it looks like Pyldramon is going to be going to the bottom, but we are going to get a little bit more search as well with our delay option.
Kurumi Detective Agency, right?
Yes. Yeah, that Detective Agency, it is one of those options that you can play regardless as long as you have the right traits on the field, and then, of course, later on it has the delay ability to gain some memory. It has become a staple of these types of game-based decks.
Yes. Asuna Shiroki comes down. We pitch the Garurumon to draw 2. We see Elecmon, and I want to say that's like a Aegiomon.
Yeah, it looked rather shiny, so you usually see that yellow.
Could be Jupiter.
Potentially even Venus.
Yeah.
There's a lot of yellow options available.
I think he runs the gold.
Yes,
the gold Venus
from the
gold
premium Bandai.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the most beautiful cards I've ever seen, by the way, the premium Bandai Gold Collection.
I still have an open mind.
Here we have a debate for Billy whether we are ready and raring to go. I don't think this is typically the setup you're looking to see before you raise up and start doing everything. We might want to set up another Tamer here.
Ben seems to be lagging behind a little bit. I think Billy's in a stronger position.
Yes. And here we're going to get a search off of the Detective Agency, probably the Seadra, because again, if we're missing pieces, this is one that allows you to dig even further. Whenever Seadra is suspended, you get that draw. So it works both as an alliance target and just when attacking.
Perfect alliance target.
Maybe back and forth on the debate, though. Yeah, we are going to end up going for that Seadramon and giving Ben a chance here. No start of turn trigger. We're going to pass on that. And it makes sense. Normally, if you have
2 memory, that's what you want.
yeah, you want the extra memory. You also don't want really where you don't want Garurumon to just come on board without any way to rush. It's kind of a sitting duck for Hoodimon, which is very good at removing the field as it builds its board.
My thought process was more so that if you are at 2 memory, you can promote up Tapir, Evo into another like level 4, and then you can DNA.
And it looks like instead just setting up our Searcher off the Elecmon. Did get to grab 2 pieces. We have the Homeros in hand now. Or I believe Asuna is not one that gains any memory, just playing the Digimon here. So
correct.
Debating on the crack of that delay option, but still holding on. Giving 2 memory is not, it's not a death knell here.
Yugo has a lot of value because you can reduce the play cost by 2, either of a Digimon or Tamer with the CS trait.
Right. Very versatile.
Yes.
So it gives you the ability, potentially we could play the Angemon to get some draw and then set up a DNA play.
Correct.
And here we're just going to Digivolve into that Angemon to get that double draw, one for Digivolving, one for the when Digivolving effect, and then utilizing that effect of the Terriermon to revert back. So we're going to play that. You go for another search.
For free. Because you have 2 or less Tamer, or 1 or less Tamers.
Likely going to be
Probably the Pal.
Palmon. Yeah, set up for a future raising scenario. Palmon having the same inheritable, if I'm not much mistaken, to the Terriermon, giving you that ability to keep reusing your Hoodimons once we get there.
Oh.
Ooh, that's Tropical Venom. So that's a spicy one. I didn't want to spoil it until we saw it on stream.
Yeah.
But we mentioned stuff like Gravity Crush and Blinding Ray. Tropical Venom is a much more seldom seen version of those gain 2 memory options because it's a little bit more niche, but their opponent has the ability that on deletion, they lose 2 memory.
Correct.
So you are forced to then remove that Digimon. Usually that means it's not a free 2 memory. You kind of have to work for it. But just being able to gain back that memory as you're doing your plays is kind of the same thing.
Yes. And then per the Yokomon effect, because we're attacking, I believe we're going to be drawing a card because we're CS trait.
Your Hoodimon is doing the Hoodimon thing. We are bouncing back with the option to play another Yugo.
And there's the Chitose.
Yep. And we said no to the first one, but I think it would be really difficult to say no to the second Chitose. We still are saying no. We don't want the Chitose that bad.
Keep in mind, we can stack Yugos together for the playing of Chitose.
Right.
So regardless, since you have 2 Yugos in play, you can reduce the play cost of something by 2 for each one, so 4 total. We hit Palmon, and then we hit Elecmon 2 checks. We're going to DNA now, sending that Angemon to the bottom, and then we're going to go into Shikuamon. Shikuamon DNA Digivolves. We're now going to use the Terriermon because it's a new Digivolution stack to tuck Shikua to the bottom and repeat.
Right, and it's important to note, a lot of combo pieces are happening very fast. The reason the Angemon was suspended is due to Alliance on Hoodimon. So that Angemon wasn't swinging alone. This Seadramon now coming out being the target that we were talking about, perfect for Alliance because it lets you keep digging. Once again, we're going to DNA Digivolve, this time into Pyldramon, going to swing, and then because there's no Digimon without sources, we'll restand, and that is exactly what you want to see as the Hoodie player. Once you get the combo going, once you get 1 Hoodimon on board, you are able to keep playing level 4s next to it, and as long as you have DNA Digivolution targets, you are able to keep DNA Digivolving, you become a new Digimon, you're able to attack again, and then because your inheritable effects reset, you're going to be de-Digivolving every single time. There's never a chance where you're able to miss that sequence.
The only chance that you miss is in the case of Billy, for example, when he DNA Digivolved into Pyldramon, that actually locks off all of his CS trait-related abilities.
Exactly.
Because Pyldramon is not a CS trait Digimon.
Yeah, they're only playing it because of its colors and because of exactly what we saw at the end. It's able to restand by itself to facilitate needing 1 less piece to end the game.
Because of Hoodimon being green and the Seadramon being blue, that's how you can go into Pyldramon. But it opens you up to 2 options instead of not having just Shikuamon. You also have Pyldramon as well.
Right, because just having 4 pieces for your finisher that you typically need to see multiple of in order to do a full OTK definitely not ideal, right? Now, Hootie doesn't always have to do it all in one go. They are able to control the board if they're able to see those Chitoses and clear some things out. They build some kind of resilience as well, but you would like to finish what you started, you know?
I do want to say that the way Billy is piloting this deck is also showing us that I don't need Chitose. So even though we got the news yesterday during the dev panel that there is an upcoming restrictions list, Chitose is not the problem, is what he said.
I think maybe the butterfly wings are causing some of the issues.
Pair restriction, we don't know.
Yeah, we're all going to find out at the same
Yes.
time, and it is going to be exciting to see what changes in the Digimon card game.
Yes. It's just really interesting that, we've always been talking about Chitose being the main griefer in this combo, but he didn't use it once. It was
Not a
all
single time.
Yugo.
Yeah. Don't even need it this time. It's going to be Uncle Ben who's forcing Billy to start. I mentioned all day yesterday, but these Time Stranger decks do usually prefer to go second so that they have more time to find their combo pieces. They can maybe set up in the back. They maybe get themselves an extra Tamer as well, is usually what you want to do. We might see the Garurumon in the back, but it looks like eyeing another card here, potentially going to be just trying to choke Billy at one off of a Tamer search or off of one of our...
Oh, considering Aegiomon?
Yeah, I mean, that's not too bad. It sets up a Tamer and a body on board, so it tells Billy, hey, if you don't have something to pull out right away, you might force them to commit early.
That's a lot of small bodies.
But yeah, Lekmon is going to grab a couple extra pieces.
Iliad and TS straight, so we got ourselves the tape here in the Garuru. Billy has a little bit of a benefit right now in that promoting up, the tucking of Angemon means that he goes to 2 memory. And if he does have Tropical Venom, then he can already go into a Hoodiemon.
Yeah, that would be a big deal. We could start the combo right away, and you see the Tropical Venom in hand. One of those dreaded options that can gain you 2 memory, costing 0. We're going into the Hoodiemon. We clear the Elecmon out.
We gain 2 memory from the Tropical Venom.
But of course, we have to complete our sequence. Hoodiemon is going to play out the Seadramon here. We're going to swing. Get that Alliance trigger.
Draw from Seadramon's effect.
Yep, get this draw right now as well.
HPD, oh goodness.
And we're just hitting
In between
delay
theater
option. Now, these are scary hits if we're not able to finish the job.
Are very scary hits.
Those are 2 phenomenal development pieces for Uncle Ben. So Billy now has to weigh, look, I've got a lot of combo pieces in my hand, but if I don't think I can finish what I started here, I might have to start thinking about my following turns after.
No.
And here we're giving 3 memory, going for our search option.
There wasn't a DNA target in the hand.
And I think, rightfully so, Billy thinks, I'm going to draw a whole lot of cards off of this Hoodiemon combo. I may as well get out of here because it looks like Ben, might be on the back foot, not having one of those powerful Digimon that Digivolve for free in the back.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you just hit everything that he's looking for, gaining that 1 memory off of his Tamer at the start of the turn, and of course Gomamon winking at Hoodiemon saying, I'm ready to Digivolve and get this party started.
I see Minervamon, but I don't think you hard drop Minervamon in this position.
Just to de-Digivolve 2, I'm not entirely sure if that's the goal, but you could, of course, keep building your board. We are, it looks like, going to spend 2. Nothing to suspend off of the Garurumon's effect, but we could get a jamming swing in.
Yes.
Potentially, if we have Gatomon access, could play that and set up a Sylphimon play. Looks like if we don't have that Gatomon access, going to pop this memory boost so that we're able to go into the Minerva, it looks like, without paying too much. Now, only giving 3 to the Hootie player is not the worst thing in the world.
No.
We are going to have the ability to Digivolve 2 onto the Hootie, as well as playing a Digimon off of this with the potential ability to get some removal going. But we're Digivolving down to the Palmon.
That's
going to get a search off of the Tapir. Unfortunately, we're not able to find something like a Gatomon off of this.
If it was a Gato, we'd be in really good position.
We'd be able to clear the board entirely
Correct.
by removing the Palmon and then going to the Sylphie -5 to
Correct.
the Seadra. Not seeing that piece, so we're just dropping the Tapir so we can get 2 more cards to our hand. And still presenting a difficult board to deal with. Having access to the Minervamon, of course, giving Reboot Blocker to the entire field now, and having the on-deletion effect to play a Digimon from hand means that even if Hootie does start reducing your DP,
Yes.
you might still have a say in whether or not your security is removed.
So is Uncle Ben considering adding Sonic Shot and then using Sonic Shot with Danikon and Yuki to end of turn attack?
Yeah, definitely. I think the debate of this is Billy wondering if that's even legal, but yes, it does have the proper trait
Yes.
for him to add.
That is what he's going to be doing, it seems.
Yep, so we're here using that ability to swing at end of turn, triggering the option, and of course, even after the swing, we are going to be able to restand because we now have reboot off of the Minervamon, so it's free damage.
Yes.
Now, the biggest concern is if we were to swing at security, we could hit some development pieces just like Billy did to Ben, but I would imagine here that we're probably swinging at Digimon to clear the board.
I feel like we would have wanted to spin Palmon because Palmon has the barrier.
Yes.
Okay, we did spin Pal.
Yep, and then because of the Link DP here, we are able to attack over the Seadramon.
Yes.
And of course, rebooting because of that Minervamon. Minerva has been the mainstay of these Time Stranger decks, being kind of the glue that holds it all together.
Yes.
This is the main defensive and offensive board piece that gives us time to go for the other top-end pieces as well. Something like, the Marukimon to restand, as well as the Neptunemon.
Yes.
But Minervamon is the one that you can do proactively a lot more than the others.
Billy kind of back to square one right now, but Billy did have a lot of resource that he was able to get back.
Yeah, the big problem is he has nothing in raising to pull out, so he is basically going to take an entire other turn off while Uncle Ben has just a field to do whatever he wants with.
Yep.
There's not a lot that Hoodimon does without any tamers on board from an empty board. Now, Hootie does have the ability to digivolve on top of tamers.
Yes.
But it's, from this position, not even in the question.
Glancing at Billy's hand, it doesn't appear that he has any tamers other than Chitosai. Or Chitosai, sorry.
And not bad one to see once you get everything going, but I think maybe debating. A big question is, should I be giving my opponent more memory? Should I be finding a way to give my opponent 5 memory so that they're not able to trigger the Dan and Yuki?
Deliberating right now what to do. I think you just have to go into an Angemon here.
Yeah, I think debating whether or not he wants to play the Chitose to play the Angemon.
Ooh.
And that feels like what I would want to do, be able to get that, the trigger of the Chitose so that you get a little bit of removal as well as the draw, and then you can set up the ability to flicker it when you go into the Hoodimon.
That's exactly what we're doing. So it looks like we're going to play Chitose, but we're opting not to play Angemon, even though you would draw a card off of that.
Yeah, you would draw a card, but then if the Angemon is your only 4 in hand, it becomes scary because once that gets removed, you're back to square one if you didn't draw exactly what you needed to see.
Uncle Ben right now has a much well-developed board, especially with Patamon now in the back and a Danikon and Yuki. This is a very problematic board state.
Yeah, and this is how we're starting our turn. Imagine how we're going to end it. It only gets bigger from here. the Garurumon's going to be able to get a free swing if we want with that jamming. Tapirmon has his whole life ahead of him. He could become anything that he wants to be.
Right now, if we attack with Garurumon, it will get 1 check. And then if we have the Gatomon, that would also help.
Yeah, potentially 2 more checks off of a Sylphimon.
Correct.
We could even see an Aegiomon coming out. That could be another check with barrier, so we're able to get 2 free checks off of our 4s before we go into a Sylphimon.
We do have the Agio in hand.
Yeah, so that could potentially be, on its own, 5 damage, including the Minervamon, and that means any Digimon would be able to finish it off with this Dan and Yuki if we're able to restand. So there's a chance, that...
Here comes Homeros.
Yep. Off the AGO.
Garuru attacks. The effect of Sonic Shot would normally trigger, but nothing here. AGO going into security. Another Chitose. Are we going to play anything is the question. I don't think we are.
I mean, we didn't want to last time. We didn't gain any more cards since last time, and I think the debate is, well, if I play something now, is Ben just going to clear it? And I think the answer is yes. We're going into the Sylphimon just like we drew it up.
Yep.
We got those 2 free checks off of our 4s. We're going into Sylphie, who's going to give any of its Digimon on board here plus 5,000 and security attack plus 1. So we're able to get 2 more checks here. We're able to get the Minerva swing.
I think Maruki was just drawn.
Okay, and Maruki is when Digivolving a restand, and then off of Dan and Yuki's effect, we can attack at end of turn.
Correct.
Even though we passed that memory gauge. So as long as Sylphimon lives these 2 checks, there's not usually a lot that's going to stop it. Now, there are some option cards that Hootie does have access to playing, but I don't.
Comet Hammer.
Yeah, Comet Hammer would delete the lowest. There's
De-Digivolve.
De-Digivolving.
It's
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Vulcan Palm. Yeah, Comet
Vulcan
Hammer
Palm.
would de-Digivolve, which would be a threat. I don't think, though, that any of those option cards are in Billy's deck because he spent so much room on those gain 2 options like the Venom.
Yes. We see Palmon and we see a Pyildramon.
And then here, I think it's just as simple as Digivolve into Maruki, win Digivolving, we're going to stand back up, and then now important to note that Maruki wouldn't be able to do this on its own because Maruki's ability only attacks Digimon, but Dan and Yuki will allow the Maruki to attack any target, so attack the player and finish the game. Now Ben giving Billy a little bit of a taste of his own medicine with these long combo tools, but of course, that was built over the course of multiple turns.
Correct.
That wasn't I've pulled my Digimon out of raising and I'm doing all my combo pieces.
Combo.
Yeah, of course that is possible in the Time Stranger deck, but it usually takes more turns of setup to get these tamers on board, to get extra memory value in order to go from 0 all the way up there. Whereas Hootie, usually its game plan is to kind of build from an empty board.
Do you think Billy extended too far with that initial play just to draw more cards, or do you think he should have waited a little bit more?
It's always hard to tell because when you have enough to start your combo, it's scary to sit back. I think at that point in time, he didn't have any more search cards in hand. So you have to ask yourself as a player, well, if I'm not starting my combo now, which does allow me to draw cards and potentially see further into my deck, but I don't have any search cards off the top in my hand to play to find those pieces right now, what am I waiting for? And if you just hold back and then you don't draw what you need off the top the next turn, am I just waiting again until the Time Stranger deck just goes off?
I think Billy took a gamble and said, I have some of the pieces to start the combo.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll draw into them.
If we saw a single Shakuamon, I think the game is entirely different. And off of the ability to draw for Digivolving off of the Hootiemon, draw for the play effect of the Angemon, draw for the when attacking effect of the Inheritable on the Hootiemon, you have multiple ways to get additional cards, and I think just seeing anything there would be beneficial. So
I think that's also why he specifically sequenced Seadramon.
Yes.
Because of the Alliance lets you draw. But Angemon also on play lets you draw. I mean, so
it's a dealer's choice. I think sometimes it's better to use something like the Seadramon in that position like he did because the Angemon can also get the Wind Digivolving or on play later. So it could be beneficial if you have to tuck the Hootiemon back down. Not usually what you do, but possible.
Yes. So Billy and Uncle Ben both going into this 1-1. Who do you think is going to take? Who do you think is going to go first?
I think because Billy just won that game, Hootiemon is able to, or because Uncle Ben just won that game, Billy's able to send Uncle Ben first. I know, at the Time Stranger decks usually prefer to go second. They did choose to go second in this last game, and as Hootiemon, I don't mind forcing my opponent first, going second, because I also have search cards that I want to use as well. So I would rather my opponent be on the back foot that way. And we saw we need multiple combo pieces to really get going. Yes. We saw Billy get punished for not having the proper combo pieces in hand when we went off. I would like, as the Hootiemon player, to go second in this position. Which is antithetical to everything that I believe as a Digimon player, which is I love to go first and play cards immediately, but that's the Ukomon in me.
Yes.
I love to get in there first. I do think that it might be, though, sending the Time Stranger player to go first in this position and kind of react. Hootiemon also just as a as an archetype is totally fine if the opponent builds a board first, because you're going to absolutely tear it down
Yes.
while you build your own.
Deep you reduce, and it's not even deletion by like effect, it's game mechanic. That's another thing.
And that's pretty difficult to deal with. So it looks like we are getting started. Digital gate open. And it is sending Time Stranger first. Uncle Ben going to start with a Patamon in the back. Now that's a good card to see.
It's a really strong opener.
And we are going to see the Elecmon getting the search. I believe Uncle Ben is actually running quite a few more of the searches than he is the when Digivolve effects, because I believe all of these promos are not Iliad trait.
Correct.
So they don't get hit on your searches, and they're not as powerful with Minerva, who I believe only plays Iliad traits. So that's a deck building decision that where it's really easy to tunnel in and see, okay, I get free Digivolution, this is the best thing ever, but good things in moderation.
Yes. Firing back from Billy's end, we are seeing a searcher of his own, adding Terriermon. Actually,
not
adding the Seedramon.
Yeah, grabbing the Seadra instead. Do we have another rookie to put in the back is the question. Because we would have loved that Terriermon. It looks like it's going to be another Gatsumon.
Probably drop Yugo here.
Yeah, that would be nice to set up for future turns. You get a little bit of a search and then potentially tuck it away for a cheap play afterwards. I think the debate here is either going for the Yugo or potentially trying to go for the Ankylomon that he's eyeing in hand to get rid of this Elecmon, kind of prevent the ability for Ben to go for a Sylphimon play easily, you know, without passing the turn. Because if you Yugo here, and then Patamon Digivolves for free, we potentially have 2 swings on Ben's turn before even going to a Sylphimon. That is 4 damage right away while we're clearing the board, and then that is not even to mention the potential, you know, after that.
Yes.
To set up a Minerva, to build a heavy board, and then Billy has to answer all of that on low resource. But if we're able to go into the Ankylomon here, we're forcing Ben.
Body.
Exactly. You eliminate a body. You're eliminating one potential swing.
Yes.
You're eliminating, you know, the opportunity to go, you know, get our free gamers. I think that is a big decision to make, and that is a huge difference between playing for your own individual game plan and playing against the matchup and understanding what your opponent is capable of doing. This is something that was really prevalent early on in Digimon, where how much memory do I give my opponent mattered a whole lot. Now the memory swinging is a little more bombastic, so you don't always see, oh, if I trick them knowing they can't do this or that. Instead, it's what resources do I prevent them from having? And here we're seeing, you know, the Garurumon came out for free. Very easily could have been 2 checks with jamming or with a barrier off of Agiomon if the Elecmon was still on board. Here we're still able to swing with the Garurumon.
Oh, are we crashing?
I would.
Oh wait, no, I think we have a.
Oh, the Patamon has the DP minus effect on the inheritable, I believe. So that is why we are going to be able to swing cleanly over the Ankylomon.
We're going to play in between theater to reveal top 3, and we decide to add the Gato. Now we have basically full combo in hand.
And now, if Billy pulls out a raising next turn, I don't think that the Garurumon's going to make it. But there is the chance that we're going to. Oh, we're swinging. Just for the Yugo here. So we are going to see no pull out of raising. The Garurumon makes it to the next turn. That's going to be another free check. We have 2 extra memory to work with here, so we could play a Gatomon and maintain turn.
Second Patamon. It's kind of gross.
Yeah, that is really difficult to see as Billy, especially, you know, when you have your Gotsumon in the back, it's not your favorite. Gotsumon doesn't necessarily enable the same cool tricks off of your DNA Digivolution because it doesn't let you de-Digivolve, but
Correct.
it does let you play more Digimon off the inheritable effect. So there is a chance.
It just increases your alliance targets.
Yeah.
I think right now what Billy needs is either Digilab to like be revealed. Uncle Ben kind of slowing the game down a little bit by just, you know, finding more pieces, developing the board.
Yeah, and a really important decision here from Uncle Ben, even though Garurumon is primed for a free jamming swing, to not check Billy's security, because from the position of Uncle Ben in hand, he might not have a way to answer a body that gets played off something like Chitose. If you hit certain memory tamers, or even some of the gain memory effects off the options that Billy has, have a security effect of adding to hand. You don't want to give Billy more resources if you know that next turn you're able to fully clear. And a lot of those options that you hit in security, or rather tamers that you hit in security from Hootie, aren't that deadly to stop your going for game.
Yes.
But they will be very deadly if you just chip a little bit and give them something for the next turn.
Because Tropical Venom, Gravity Crush, Blinding Ray, all don't have security effects.
Right.
But it's the tamers we have to be careful about.
Exactly. I think Billy may be debating a little bit of a head shake. We don't really have a lot of pieces to search for more. I mean, at this point, maybe you just want to Digivolve in the back so you have a level 4, but you really hate to Digivolve over this Gotsumon who can't go back down and then go into a Hootie. If we don't have Hootie in hand, which I don't think we do, and we don't have a search card, I'm not sure what Billy's going to be able to do to find his way out of this position. It might end up being something like a Yugo to play an Angemon just to draw and hope you make it. Or it looks like we've got Chitose in hand, so we can at least set up a favorable position. I think we have both Angemon and Seadramon in hand, so
yes.
We could just drop the Angemon for a draw and then potentially hold the Seadramon for the Hoodie-mon combo if we're able to see it.
I thought we added Hoodie earlier.
It would be possible. In that case, evoing Hoodie in the back is another debate that you might have, because it does have the powerful one attacking effect. You don't mind missing the win, did you?
Because we have a Tropical Venom too, right?
Hard to see from this position. Because if we have the Tropical Venom, Hoodie evos for 4, we wouldn't be able to keep turn, would we?
So we're bottom decking Yugo to play the...
Chitose for 2.
Yes.
And here we are going for the Angemon to draw. Just try to find our pieces to go off next turn. I think next turn is the now or never time for Billy. Because
I agree.
Ben is just building up an army on the other side here. Patamon going to get that free Digivolution.
Yes. Uncle Ben has the free Evo here, and we know there's a Godamon already in rotation.
Yes. So now we're going to be seeing a little bit of DP minus, not going to be a huge deal on the Angemon. Are we going to go for the DNA Digivolution here? I don't think there's a reason to. We want to get the free check off the Garurumon first.
If you're super greedy, you'll even attack with Gato, but I don't think you attack with Gato here.
No, I mean, if we have... I don't think we have a good reason to do so, but we are going to get the free jamming check.
We go for the Shikua play probably here.
Let's see.
Ooh, Maruki in hand as well.
Yeah,
That's it.
And we have the +2 memory off of our
Yes.
off of our delay
there.
tamer in between theaters, so we do have enough memory to go into Sylphie, swing 2 checks. We go to Maruki, stand back up, swing 2 more checks. We could even go to the Maruki prior to, because it has both when attacking and when digivolving effects.
Yes.
So it's the safest possible way, and that's what we're going to do. Gain some extra memory, go into the Marukimon, swing 2 checks to restand. It will still have that sec +1 from,
Yes.
and the +5k from the Sylphimon.
So it should be huge.
Even if we hit a D-Digivolve option, which, I mean, at this point we know that Ben knows Billy doesn't play that.
Yes.
It's an open deckless format. I don't think there's a single thing in the security here that can stop Ben. I think, if I remember right, there might be some memory tricks. There might be the ice wall that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
That can still turn, and I think that might be the only thing. It looks like Neptunemon, same deal. You swing and
Yes.
restand. I think it's only ice wall that can keep Billy in the game here. We've got 2 more checks. What a classic it would be if we saw an ice wall swing things all the way back to the EX1 era, right?
Yeah.
Such a powerful card when it was initially released. Very quickly changed the game.
Second check.
This is our last opportunity here to turn things around, but it's just a tamer,
that's it.
and that means Elecmon gets the swing for game. Uncle Ben taking a Hoodimon out of the bracket. I believe there's only one more Hoodimon potentially left, also playing against a Time Stranger deck.
Correct. It's a mirror on the upper brackets.
On this same side of brackets.
Yes.
So the